Hello and welcome back to the Odd Shopper YouTube channel. I'm Isaiah. I'm broadcasting from windy Nashville today, and I'm here to break down this weekend's race at Las Vegas. So today we're going to be going over the odds. We're going to be talking a bit about DraftKings because they have a pretty awesome promotion going on, and then we're going to talk about Odd Shopper Insider Access a little bit. That's how you get access to the full NASCAR betting cards that I post. I hope you tailed last week's video because we hit Kyle Busch at 10-1. He won the race, bringing me to 2-1 for NASCAR outrights for the year. If you've been tailing my cards via Insider Access. So we're off to a pretty hot start. I'm looking to keep it that way with this weekend's race in Las Vegas. So we've got the Pennzoil 400. Las Vegas is a 1.5 mile oval with limited tire wear. It's a high-speed intermediate. So the comparators to this track are other high-speed ovals like Kansas, Michigan, Texas, and Charlotte. Michigan's the only one of those tracks that's longer than 1.5 miles. It's a 2-mile oval, but it's still a pretty good comparator because the way that you win there is you win with raw speed. Just like at Kansas, Michigan, and Vegas. So we're looking for drivers in good equipment more so than we're looking for drivers who have a ton of car control and talent. Before we get into the picks, I want to talk a bit about DraftKings. DraftKings is doing an awesome promotion right now where you can bet $5 and win $150 back in bonus bets if your money line wager wins. So while we can't bet on a money line for NASCAR, which is unfortunate because I'd love to do that, we can go to the college basketball scene and let's look at Cornell. Cornell is a massive 2,100 favorite versus Columbia on the money line. You're going to want to lock that one in. Cornell should win easily. Get your $150 in bonus bets and spend it on NASCAR. Let's get into the picks. So pick number 1, Ross Chastain. Last year's high-speed ovals came down to 2 drivers. Chastain was one of them. He led 338 laps at the comparator tracks and 151 at Las Vegas alone. He had an average finish of 2.5, which means he finished second and third. He couldn't get the win, but he ran well enough in both races and clearly has the car capable of winning. So we're going to back him here. He showed speed at Auto Club last week, but he didn't manage equipment well enough, and he gave up the win to Kyle Busch, which, thank you, Ross Chastain. Love that for you. We cashed our Kyle Busch tickets because of that. I wanted him to open at 9-1 or something a little longer, but I didn't really think we were going to get a number like that. So I was pleasantly surprised with the 8-1 that we got. There's still value on this one down to 7-1. So I'm a pretty big fan of this Chastain pick. Next pick is going to be Tyler Reddick. So the second big driver on these tracks was Reddick, unsurprisingly. The team change that he made in the offseason is something to note here, but we're not going to talk about that right now. First, I want to talk about how dominant Reddick was. He led 183 laps at comparators and 32 in Vegas. He had an average finish of 6.5 here in Vegas, so he finished 6th and 7th. Not great. But I'm still reasonably optimistic about his chances of winning this race. He had a really fast car in both events. And honestly, the team change that he made, kind of a benefit. 23XI Racing's number 45 swept both of the Kansas races last year, and Bubba Wallace and the number 23 almost won at Michigan. So they did phenomenal at the comparators. Further, Bubba did pretty well at Vegas last year too, at least in the fall. So there's enough reason to like Tyler Reddick here with his new team and the new situation that he's in the Toyotas. The Toyotas were all pretty successful at the high-speed intermediates last year. They often couldn't finish races off because of late race issues, especially tire failures. But the Toyota camp looked great last year. We're going to easily want to get exposure to them with Reddick, especially because his odds are relatively long for the Toyota camp. He opened at 20-1 on Caesars, but at 15-1 at DraftKings. Unfortunately, the 20-1 is no longer on the board, but you can still get the 19-1 at FanDuel. So you're going to have to shop around. I love DraftKings, but we're going to have to leave them for this one because, unfortunately, they are a little sharp, and they did penalize Reddick's odds this week. So if you want access to my full betting card, I'm going to give you all one more pick, but I have a couple other plays that I only post in the Odd Shopper Insider Access Discord channel. If you subscribe, you gain access to all of our betting experts in our premium Discord. You get picks in real time like live bets. You get office hours, and you get access to my betting models and my XFL stats. I've been doing a lot of that recently because I'm pretty tired of not having football, even though it's only March. So, oh well. More importantly, the full NASCAR betting card posted early in the week, so that way you get the best odds before the lines move and you get ahead of the sharps, really. So that's what I would recommend signing up for. You can get your first week of Insider Access for 50% off, and then it's just $19.95 after that. And it's not just me, it's not just our NASCAR bets. You get access to Lindy, you get access to everyone on the channel. Strongly recommend it. Cool. We're going to get into our last pick of the day. It's Bubba Wallace. So I've already talked about him. I couldn't say as much as I wanted to because the dude was phenomenal here last fall. He led 29 laps in Vegas before he got in a crash with Kyle Larson, and he led 110 total laps at comparator tracks. So these tracks are all about equipment. Is your car good? Is your car fast? Does your team know what it's doing? And 23XI, I knew what it was doing on the high-speed intermediates last year. They dominated, specifically the number 45 car, but I mean, even though Reddick's in that one, Bubba should still do pretty well in his number 23 Toyota. He had a tough start to the season, so that's honestly helping us out here because the books haven't really jacked his number up like they did Kyle Busch. We're not going to see Kyle Busch at 10-1 again, unfortunately. Now he's already 6-1 for this race, and it'll have to be a super speedway or a road course for us to get him into the double digits again. But oh well, we got our bag. So Bubba Wallace, he opened at 28-1 on Caesars. I was fine with that line. I bought it. And then he opened at 40-1 at DraftKings, and I put a little bit more on there. Unfortunately, the 40-1 is now gone. The best price you're going to find is 30-1. Still a pretty solid deal. I would recommend playing it. That's not the only bet I want on Bubba, though. His top 10 odds are surprisingly long, too. He's at 2-1, so plus 200 on FanDuel to score a top 10. He has the car that can win here. Even if he can't get the win done, there's a very small scenario in which he doesn't score a top 10, especially because it's a limited 36-car field. There's no Jimmy Johnson. None of the part-time drivers are showing up for this one. So I'm a pretty big fan of Bubba, top 10 at plus 200. So let's recap the picks real quick. We got Ross Chastain at 8-1. I like it down to 7-1. I think he's the easy favorite to win this week. The odds are a little short for my liking, but it's a decent enough bet. My top play for the week is Tyler Reddick at 19-1. You're getting a ton of value at that price. Still, it's not as good as the 20-1 that you could have locked in earlier if you were in the Insider Access Discord, but it's still a solid play at 19-1. Lastly, we're going to target Bubba outright and top 10. Bubba's going to have a fast car just like Reddick. There's correlation there. There's a decent chance Reddick wins the race. Bubba finishes second. You get the top 10 payout and you get the dub from Reddick. So that's a pretty good way to get a payout here. We got some really good data for this track last year with all 7 of the high-speed intermediate tracks. So I'm fairly confident about these plays. Barring some late race chaos, I think we're good to go with these plays. As always, I'm Isaiah. I'll be here to break down every week's NASCAR race, and I hope to see you back here next week.